If you don't have a process, I would argue that you do, you just haven't taken the time to sit down and define it. Today, I want to talk about your process is the product. Now, what does that mean? So your process, how you do things, is what people will buy. Now, if you have a discovery call with a client and you take them through your process, I'll tell you my process real quick. So I have a 6D process: discovery, define, design, develop, deliver, deploy. So that would mean that we'd have a chat, we'd find out what the problems are, whether or not I can help them. And then when we know the problems, we would go deep, find where there potentially could be some territories to solve. Then we would define those areas. Then we would design around them. We would bounce around those sections. Then when we find something that works, we would develop it. And then when we develop it and we're all happy, we would deliver it. And then depending on whether or not I'm involved or not, it would then be deployed. So every stage of that 6D process, I know that I can facilitate and execute and ideate within those spaces because I've done it hundreds of times before. For multiple different sizes of businesses, for big brands, small brands, little brands, big budgets, small budgets, everything in between. So I'm not worried about what's coming because I understand my process. That process obviously mirrors a lot of industry standard processes, but have been slightly tweaked and tailored to little opinions and where I position myself in the market. And honestly, if I have one piece of advice, not that I'm in the business of giving advice, that if you can articulate how you work and why you do the things that you do and why you care about this and not that, it just makes you stand out in interviews. It makes you stand out in LinkedIn. It makes you stand out on Twitter. It makes you stand out online. And it means that when you're sending your portfolio or you're sending a link to your website or your PDF or however you do it, because all of them work, no matter what anyone tells you, they all work in different markets. Whatever way in which you get people to have eyeballs on your work, it's your process that will get you in the room, and it's your process that people will buy. So if you don't have a process, I would argue that you do, you just haven't taken the time to sit down and define it. How would you do that? I would simply open up a Google Slides document and I would just go through maybe the last 2 projects, because every project obviously we get better, we refine stuff. So the last 2 projects you worked with a client, I would just try and list out everything, go through the emails, try and list out all the PDFs, look at the decks you sent, look at the presentations you gave, look at the whole project and find where you had the meetings and how, were there specific pillars? Were there certain meetings that were non-negotiable? Was there a certain conversations or phone call? Did you have to take them through this? Were you on the phone for that? You've definitely got a process. And if you write that down, then the next time try and do it vaguely in the same way. And then you'll realize, oh no, that was bullshit, or that was just a fluke, or that was just an anomaly. But then you'll realize, oh, okay, it's really good if I check in the morning and then just send where I'm at, or if I just check in or have a call in the evening every day, and we do create sprints like that. It means that when the work's coming on Wednesday for the midweek catch up, that they're already clued in on the strategy. So now it's all about just showing them the aesthetic stuff and the visual stuff, blah, 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 blah. You can break it down forever, but having a process is what will set you apart. Having your own process that you have dialed in the back of your head, that you can then, when you're talking on your discovery calls or when you're talking, whether you have a PDF in the background or not, whether you're literally in the pub, I've got work just chatting to people. I guess you'd call it networking, but I fucking hate that word. So just in the pub with people who are like, hey, you seem like you know what you're talking about. Let's have a chat, right? And it's good to know and to run and to almost practice your lines and to try and write it from one piece of paper and then the next one, and then try and build a presentation about it, make a video about it if you have to. But if I can recommend anything to anyone who is building a brand in the service space or runs a graphic design agency or a creative service, done with you, done for you service, that it's your process that will win and it's your process that will get you work. So work out what that is.